To kick things off, playlist opportunities. People want to know how to get playlist opportunities on BeatStars. I'm here to tell you how. New playlist opportunities are available every single week. If you didn't already know, all opportunities are up for 2 weeks at a time. Don't miss your chance to submit. Check out beatstars.world/opportunities. beatstars.world/opportunities. Let me copy and paste that link in the chat so you can just click right on it in a new tab and then open it when this conversation's over. Also, the BeatStars 30-day challenge is still going on. We're at the last week, but follow the social media and participate every day. I mean, this is all about building habits. So check out www.beatstars.world/30-days. Follow at BeatStars all social media as well. I'm going to post a link in the chat as well to the 30-day challenge, and I'm sure it won't be the last one. I have no idea. I'm assuming. I'm making an assumption. So, I figure they'll be back. Anyway, today I'm excited to have this conversation with Levii Beats because he's one of the long-standing MEC members before MEC transitioned over and became powered by BeatStars. And so I've never really gotten much of a chance to have a sit down with him and just pick his brain. But what I have been seeing is how crazy his numbers have been and how much progress he's made, especially as a newer producer, I'm looking forward to today's conversation. So Levii, what's going down, man? Thanks for joining us all the way across the Atlantic.
Yeah, across the pond. Yeah, thanks, man. Firstly, I just want to thank you for inviting me. I feel, really privileged for you to invite me to have this interview with you, and hopefully I can maybe give some inspiration for those that are just starting out themselves.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about this because I feel like you're in a position where you're seeing things paying off, and every week is better than the previous, but you're also right in the midst of it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to see some results, and obviously that's exciting stuff. But I'm also just in the middle of it as well, like you say. So yeah, I'm kind of still, I wouldn't say fresh, but I'm still kind of new. But I'm also, still figuring things out. To be fair.
Well, yeah. Let's start there. How long have you actually been making beats?
So I've been making beats probably for about 5 years. So that sounds quite, I suppose not old, but I suppose it sounds pretty. When I say when you say that I'm new, that probably sounds like a long time. But I think
not to me, but whatever.
Yeah. But for the first maybe 2-3 years, I was maybe just figuring out. I was learning DAWs, that kind of stuff, and it took me time. And I was working stupid hours, so it took me a long time to figure things out, definitely, for sure, and what kind of music that I wanted to create and stuff. So and I think I'm just finally figuring that out.
Okay, I really want to dive into that topic, but
Sure.
what's your musical background? I know you're a multi-instrumentalist. Would you just jump into making beats right away and then learned instruments, or what?
No, so I started learning music when I was 15. Just as I was leaving school, actually. I'm pretty gutted that I didn't take music as a subject in school. But yeah, I started when I was 15, and there was just a group of friends. We created a band together. We was all young. None of us knew how to play any instruments, and we just decided to learn, instruments. Unfortunately, the only instrument that was left for me to learn was the bass guitar. So I kind of picked that up, and then from there, I picked up, learning to play guitar. We was in a band for about 10 years, toured, supported people, just did the regular gigs, some competitions, some radio stuff as well. So I had experience musically, but from an engineering perspective, and just from digital production and that kind of stuff, I didn't really have any idea.
What kind of music did the band play?
So we started off with independent, indie kind of music, indie rock stuff. And and then it kind of ventured into like a British pop punk kind of vibe. Kind of around the same kind of time, you know, like kind of like the same as like Blink 182, Sum 41, that kind of stuff, which we was heavily into, and we just kind of made a British version of it. And you know, we did really well with it, but relate, you know, you get older, you meet girls, you know, there's things that you do, and then things just don't work out. So we potentially could have done something if we'd carried it on, but it just didn't work out.
Oh, so people chose growing up and having kids and getting married over
Yeah,
being
that
rock
kind of
stars.
stuff. Yeah, and to be honest with you, if I'm being honest, I was like with my mum and you know my parents. I was brought up with soul music, you know, soul, R&B, you know, back in the 80s and stuff. So I was brought up with a lot of that stuff, and that's where I really wanted to venture into. And I did at some point end up doing like a soul funk band. We got back together later on, and I was able to like, you know, kind of have more of an influence of what kind of music we was playing. And I really enjoyed that. And in fact, that's when I kind of improved my skill sets on like, you know, bass guitar and stuff more, because you know yourself, you know, soul funk music is very kind of, you know, that's a bassman's dream, and a bass player's dream basically.
Mm. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Traditionally, you think of the bass player as, or a lot of people will, you know, claim that the bass player is, you know, the least important band member and this and that. Nah, I disagree, because a lot of these bass lines make or break a song.
Yeah, agree.
They're really important. So do you currently have a job other than music?
Yeah, so I am working full time. I do work full time, yeah, currently. So I do music as and when I can. Um, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, I love music that much. It would never stop me from doing what I wanted to do anyway, you know. So
Well, let me ask you this then. So, from the time that you've started uploading beats online, how long did it take until you reached the point where you felt you were starting to make real progress as a business?
probably last year, um, and I think that was because I just found I think I spent a bit more time. I'm not like the best with marketing and stuff like that. I still need to learn a lot on that side. But I think one of the things that I did was, uh, and I think you know producers go through the stages. You create so many different styles of music to figure out what it is that you feel you're really good at, or what you feel, or what you love doing more so. You know, um, especially I suppose like yourself. You know, with someone that's really interested in a you know so many different genres, it's difficult to figure out what one you want to you know kind of stick to, and what one you find you know really what's the word, kind of gives you more motivation to do more of it, you know. And I
And for
think I
you, that
really
was
found
R and
that.
B.
Yeah, basically I found that last year. And it was stupid really, because if I really think about it, that was what I was brought up with, you know, that was the music that I loved and I still love to this day. um so yeah, I just think I found it was easier for me to create that type of music than it was some of the other stuff, you know.
So, when you first started uploading beats to the internet, would you say your beats were solid and ready to go, or did they still need work?
Oh no, they definitely needed work. And I've still kept them up because every now and again I'll make like a really odd sale on one of them that I'd never expect to. And I think everyone's experienced that. Everyone I speak to has said that they've experienced that for sure. But now, like when I go back and listen to them now, I was like, damn, like where was I when I created that? Like, what space was I in? Because it was really bad.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of creatives, period, they start making their art and they're so excited just by the process and the fact that they created something original that, you know, they really get in their own heads, and either on the one side where they think they're terrible, or on the other side where they think they're amazing. And I think both of those mentalities can hold you back. But how were you able to tell that your beats needed work at that time, and how were you able to focus on improving the parts that did need work? What kind of process of analysis and introspection did you go through to reach those conclusions?
Well, at first, I think I was naive. You know what I mean? I think I was naive, thinking that I I was able to compete with other producers in the community with the stuff that I was already creating. And I think just over time, I already had an ear for music, and I understood to a certain point that it wasn't where I wanted it to be. But I think one of the biggest problems I had was I was comparing myself too much to other people, and I was, getting frustrated and stuff like that. And I think, again, everyone goes through that. You compare yourself to other people, and I think what made the difference was when I just really concentrated on, you know, my music rather than and not comparing it to other people. And and I think that's where things start to change. I don't know if I actually answered your question there, because I think I went off a little bit, but
So, what else did you do throughout that process? I mean, I'm sure you had some problems with mixing early on, as
yeah.
most of us do, maybe sequencing. What were some resources you used, or some habits that you formed in order to improve and even listen enough to your music in the right way so that you knew exactly what to pinpoint to fix?
Yeah. It was like watching people like yourself, joining MEC club as well. That helped, just to get some critique and from yourself and others, and just give some tips. But one of the other things was as well, I started to network with artists, and I started to work with them, and they was actually giving me advice on how to structure music, that kind of stuff. um, because I think we all do it when we first start as a producer. Like we create music and it feels empty, like you feel like there's something missing, and at 9 times out of 10 you're putting too much in. And I think that was something that I did. I made it too complicated. I was putting too many sounds in it. um, and then after speaking with artists, they would say, like, take that out or take this out, is too much. I can't, there's too many melodies going on. I can't like hear any of my own melodies. I can't add anything to it. And that really helped, figuring out, just networking with artists, networking with people like yourself, and just getting advice from people, watching tutorials, just using every single resource I could to improve. And also as well, just keep listening to music. Just keep listening in the same sound source that you're using to do your mixing and stuff. I just did the same stuff over and over and over again, kept making beats, and just over time it started to improve. And also, I didn't spend too long on one beat. If I didn't like it, I would just skip and I'd go to the next one and just keep doing that, and generally just gradually improved.
Yeah, I think something that can really psych us out as beat makers, especially in today's era, is, and especially during COVID, it is how antisocial our processes can be, where we're just by ourselves in a room making a beat, and we sometimes are making the beat not with others in mind, or our target audience in mind, i.e., rappers and singers who want to license the beat, but we're thinking more in terms of just how much. Oh, we lost Levi. Well, let me continue. We'll get him back. I think the UK is censoring me. There he is. I ate too much Chinese food the last time I was in London, so they're punishing me. Yeah, I think a lot of producers, because they don't have to work directly with artists, end up in this space where they're not catering to artists, or producing with the artists, in the vocalists, I should say, in mind. And that's one of those things. And so, what advice would you give Burnt Twig, for example,
I was just about to say that. I was about to say that when you get to the point where you think something sounds like it's missing, stop. So that's what I do. If I get to a point and I think it just needs one more, just something needs it, like it needs one more sound, that's when I stop, because then I think actually the sound that's missing is the vocal, which is another instrument. So I think that's where we forget, you know, where we get stumped sometimes, and we should just stop at that point. And I think what it is people are scared to upload their beats to BeatStars, wherever it is they're uploading to, and people are not going to listen to it, or people can, you know, going to critique and say, right, you've only used like 5 sounds in it, or you've only used 4, like you've got your 4 drum sounds and then 1 melody. You know, I think people think it's kind of like subconsciously you're thinking, I've not done enough to this beat, I've not done enough to it. Do you know what I mean? You can probably relate to that as well, because you've probably been there at some point.
Oh, me, yeah, I was notorious for doing that, but I just wouldn't finish beats, and it was ironic too because I was I was working from day one, from like the first beat I ever made. I was working with rappers, and so I don't know. I think what my issue was not understanding mixing. So I would try to kind of cram my beats full of additional elements rather than just letting it be what it was. So I think no matter what, we might end up as producers tricking ourselves and just being insecure and thinking we need to add more and more and more and more and more. And really, the beauty of great music often is the simplicity.
Agreed. Yeah.
So let's talk more about vocals. Let's talk about a topic that a lot of producers have asked me to speak on, and I just really haven't. And you're a great person to talk to about this. Beats with hooks. They seem to perform well for you. How did you first start connecting with singers and songwriters to put these beats with hooks together?
Just networking, really, just networking via, you know, all different sources, social media. I met, you know, a couple through MEC Club as well, that were already kind of beat makers and singers as well. Um, and even people, you know, some artists that were, you know, liking and purchasing some of my beats, I would reach out to them and say, look, you know, would you be interested in putting some hooks on my tracks? I think it would be really nice to hear what beats would sound like, you know, with some vocals in it. Because when you first start making beats, and I think, you know, you're not hearing anyone, or you're not hearing any rappers or singers on your beats, so you never know what it's going to sound like. So I think it's a really good step to, you know, hear what it would sound like with someone on it. And that also helps, you know, when you're writing, producing beats, and then you're getting someone to add a hook on it, it's kind of like cements even more that, like, you don't need to add too many sounds, you know. So I think that's also helped me progress as a producer as well, and to, you know, keep things a bit more simplistic and not just to add too much. But in general, yeah, just working with hook, you know, artists, just reaching out to them, and yeah, just trying to network with people. I think that's probably the best way to do that. And you have people buying your beats, so why not ask them, you know?
Yeah, and here's a question that a lot of other beat makers ask me all the time. In your experience, and I don't really have a great answer, in your experience, do beats with hooks sell better or about the same as just instrumentals?
For me, it's kind of a bit of both. Um, and I think it also depends on the beat as well. Like, a lot of my stuff is R&B, so I think most people that would be looking for beats with hooks would generally be rappers, right? Because it saves them from getting a featured artist. The featured artist is already on the track. All they've got to do is add their rap in, their rap or whatever they want to do, their part. Yeah, so I think it depends. I think, like, for my style of music, it can be good because it gives the artist maybe a little bit of an idea, and they may potentially go away and maybe use the beat and take the hook away, or just add their own one. But it might give them, it's kind of like having a songwriter in the room with you, isn't it? You know, you've already got someone that's giving you a melody and an idea and a top line or something. So yeah, I think it really all depends on the style of music you're creating, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually asked my email list of predominantly beat buyers. And shout out to BeatStars for the Mailchimp integration. And I
Yeah.
just asked, what kind of, do you want beats with hooks? Do you want beats without hooks? What do you prefer? And I got a lot of responses, but a lot of the responses were like, I love beats with hooks, but sometimes I want beats without hooks. Or man, I write my own hooks, so I don't need beats with hooks unless the hook is hot. So I'm just kind of like, I guess I'll just keep doing both then. You know what I mean?
I think that's,
Because
yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. I mean,
yeah,
you add the beat, you upload the beat with the hook and upload it without, and then they've got the option. But yeah, the best of both worlds, as Rock Five said there.
yeah. Honestly, I think sometimes it's just good marketing too.
Yeah,
Because they'll hear the beat with the hook, see where the vocals fit in, and say, you know what, I don't love this hook because the concept isn't right for what the beat is telling me I need to write. But because I heard it with the hook, I'm gonna reach out and get the version without the hook.
yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely, yeah. I say it gives people kind of a starting point, or it gives them an idea of what it would sound like with an artist on it already. So um, yeah, I think, I mean, again, me personally, it's kind of 50-50. I would like to do more with hooks, I think. But maybe that's me being selfish because I want to hear, the beats with, vocals on them. Um, but yeah,
Do you ever get vocals back to the beat and say, "Oh shit, now I have to remix the beat because there was just too much in there, and now I need to make more space
yeah,
for the vocals"?
I have done that before. Yeah, and I've actually sent out beats with sent out beats for people to put hooks on them, and then gone back to them and says, hey, like, this is super cool, like, we need to turn this into a full song, and then we end up turning it into a full song. So yeah, it just depends. But yeah, sometimes I do find them coming back, especially at the early point when I was doing it. They would come back and be like, oh, I'm gonna have to remix this. But I was, because I had a little bit of experience working in studios, and one of my closest friends had one at the time. I would go in and help him with bands and stuff. It was all live stuff. It was different to this, but um, I had a little bit of experience with that, so I was able to, when I'm working in the project, I set it up in a way where if the vocal did come back to me, I could go back in, and it was easy for me to make changes. I hadn't like bounced it out, or do you know what I mean? There was ways that I got around doing it to make it quicker, but yeah. Yeah, a few times I got them back and I was like, oops, there's too much. I need to take some stuff out, or mix it better at least.
Yeah, no, I do that all the time, and it depends on the vocals and their tone. And some people in the chat are talking about downloading acapellas and testing those out in the
Yeah.
in the beats, and that's something I've done as well. I don't know if that's something you've done, Levi, but it's something I've recommended.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, you've got Splice and you've got all of these other places where you can get a cappella stuff from now that you can test it out on. So yeah, that's a really good idea. In fact, that's a good idea for any producer starting out, that we never had that, years ago, but we have that now. So it's good, or easy access to it, I should say, at least.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone asking questions in the chat. Continue asking. Levi, I want to ask you about your bulk deals. Have your bulk deals helped increase your sales?
Yeah, I would say they do. I wouldn't say they predominantly help. I do get a lot of people buying, multiple different beats, and they utilize that option. But I also, offer discounts as well every now and again. So yeah, I think it definitely does help. I think having the option there definitely does help for sure.
Got it. So let's talk about your 2020 impact. In 2020, you exceeded 120,000 BeatStars plays. You gained nearly 6,000 followers, and you uploaded 54 beats. And right now, you have over 120 beats in your beat store. What number of beats kind of felt like the right number for you for the engagement to start kicking in?
Um, I would say that is a really tough one, but I would say I started to notice some differences when I had around about 80 beats on my store. But I also what had improved my sound, my skill set by then. So it's really hard for me to judge whether it was because of the number of beats I had or whether it's because of my beats in general had just improved. Um, but I think for me, 80 was definitely a good number. And I'm not uploading beats every day. I wished I could. And you know, I'm very critical of myself, so sometimes it takes me a while to get one finished. But I'm consistently trying to get better at that and upload more weekly for sure. Because consistency is definitely key. I did start to notice when I was uploading more regularly that it was having an effect for sure.
So Matt Perry wants to know if you have any tips for inspiration.
Inspiration in the studio. Yeah, because sometimes I actually suffer with that myself. And what I actually do is I find producers that I'm fans of, and then I will go and watch them beat making. And we have like platforms like Twitch, and there's a lot of BeatStars producers on there, and just some producers that I follow, and I just watch them. And it might not be within the same style of music, but I will just watch them when I'm sitting in the studio. If I can't, if I'm really frustrated, I really want to make beats. I'm like, oh, I need to upload a beat this week. I will just get some inspiration from either watching, other producers making beats, or I just listen to music, or listen to something different that I don't normally listen to. Watch a movie. Sometimes I hear like music in a movie that inspires me. So yeah, I think finding inspiration is going to be different for everyone, but that's what works for me, definitely.
So I look at your beats and the plays are just great. 1,000 plus plays on every beat on your BeatStars page. How long have these plays been consistently high for you?
Um, they have been going really well since I switched up my branding a little bit, and also since I started really concentrating on the R&B stuff. And yeah, I think, and also becoming uploading more regularly as well. I noticed that I was getting more traction um, to those to those beats for sure. Yeah, I think it's more so because of the beats I'm making, and I'm probably utilizing the tags a bit more. I'm like the worst person for tagging beats. Like I am the worst. Because sometimes I'm creating beats and I can't even hear like a specific artist on it. Most of us probably all go through that at some point. Um, but yeah, that's when I started to notice, an increase in plays.
Do you think part of it is because not too many producers are making R&B beats, and not too many of them are consistently focusing on R&B sounds?
I Potentially, that could be potentially the case. But there are some dope R&B producers on the BeatStars platform, and I follow and watch some of them, and I have been for a while. But yeah, that I think that could be partly part of it. But I've also recently, just through looking at stats and stuff, noticing, you know, a bit more of my target audience, and it seems to be predominantly female artists, which is quite interesting for me. Um, and you know, I think that's a good thing, because I don't think maybe that's market is, I wouldn't say saturate, but I think maybe that market's not being, you know, pushed into as much as maybe some, you know, a bit more male orientated, I think, potentially.
What statistics, what analytics were you looking at to determine that?
Well, I was using the BeatStars stats. I was also, you know, just utilizing social media. I'd be uploading my beats to social media as well, like Instagram and stuff like that. And you can see the stats, and you can determine who, you know, who's the biggest part of your audience. So yeah, I was kind of shocked, but also just in general, like people directly reaching out to me as well. You know, tends to be predominantly female artists that reach out to me on Instagram, you know, interested in working with me. So that kind of helped me understand my audience a little bit more, which I think is key. I think it's one of the keys as well.
You a couple minutes ago kind of alluded to um, your upload schedule and consistency. For you, what have you found to be a good upload schedule?
For me, currently I'm uploading one beat a week. I definitely think I could do more, but I think that is definitely like, excuse me, I think Mike Trampy mentioned once you should be at least trying to upload 2 beats a week, and I think that's kind of the general consensus of what people think works. But then I know people that, you know, bulk upload. They'll like upload like 5 beats at the end of the month, or so I just tend to try and do it each week. I've been testing out the times as well to see what makes a difference, and obviously BeatStars has a good way of you, you know, knowing when you're getting more plays, and you know, during the times of the day. So I've kind of been utilizing that as well, which kind of says to me, you know, the people that follow me, or the people that you know, are looking out for my music, are generally online at that time looking for it. So tried to put it in front of them when it's there, you know, when they're online.
So here's a question: what do you think about? Is this in your future? I guess live streaming your beat making sessions.
Yeah, it's something I really want to do, because I feel I have a lot of you know, good information to provide people, and just some, you know, some of the things that I do in my production that I think could help people. Because I used to be one of these people that would buy every new plugin that came out, and then I would put it on every single track that I had. But now when if I was to open a project from like when I first started to now, there's so much less like stuff on it than there was before, because I was trying to add too much. So I think that's good to show people that you don't have to be, you know, using every single plugin you've got to your that you have to your you know, what you've got, you know, and it's not needed. So just kept it more simplistic, and but yeah, I'd love to do that. In fact, I was testing something out the other day, and seeing if I could get it to work. Yeah, would definitely be down for that.
That's such a vulnerable. I've done it before, and it's nerve wracking because it's there's always that possibility, no matter who you are, that you're gonna make a terrible beat, and
Yeah.
everyone's gonna see how weird you are. You know, because I'll look at other producers' streams, and they just go in and it's flawless, like yeah, 8 bar loop, and then here are the drums, and then within an hour it's a hit. I'm like, no, that's not how I look in the studio.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
man. So,
sometimes it takes me a week to finish one beat. So, you know, they would have to sit there and be patient with me if they was watching me every day of the week. I mean, maybe that's a good way to keep audience retention. Maybe, I don't know, like get them back every night and show them a new step to the beat that you're doing. So, yeah, I mean, it's something I think it's interesting for sure. And I think, you know, because I have a little bit of a musical background, not that it's needed, but I think it would be good for people to see, I think.
Okay, but Matt, that wasn't start to finish. Those were collabs anyway. I just want to be clear. I don't want this mythology following my name. But yeah, I mean, at very least with you, you could be doing more interesting stuff like playing guitar and playing
Yeah.
live bass. That's cool to watch. I don't know. I don't dance. I don't do any. I don't know.
I'm sure you could find something, man. I'm sure you could find something.
Something. Yeah, I don't know. I can eat while
You
I
can get
make
on your
beats. I
decks
don't know.
maybe and do some sampling on your decks or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, but it's all digital anyway. So
That's
I don't
true.
know. I feel like a muppet. Anyway, let's talk YouTube. Is it fair to say that you don't really upload beats to YouTube very often?
Yeah, I've tried it, if I'm being honest. And I think it can be very time consuming. It potentially like and if you're you know, especially when you're first starting out, and it takes a lot of patience. I mean, anything you do in the producer world, it takes a lot of patience, right? Regardless of what you're doing, whether it's uploading to YouTube or trying to make sales or whatever it is, it takes time. But I decided to utilize platforms that were working for me rather than wasting time on something that I didn't really feel was actually helping me. But when I get to a point where I feel maybe I need to expand the business, or you know, I need to try a different avenue, then I think I would maybe try YouTube. I do every now and again, you know, just get the inspiration to create a video and upload it. But yeah, I think just for me, I realized what platforms were helping me the best and tried to concentrate on that more to kind of really start the ball rolling, and that seemed to work.
Yeah, and I would like to, and I'm gonna to talk to more producers who, like you, are not using YouTube as a central source of traffic, because there are a lot of producers out there that really don't use YouTube that much, but they're making a lot of sales. I mean, a lot of sales.
Yeah,
So, and I think that the narrative out there is that if you're not big on YouTube, you're not going to do well on BeatStars, and I don't think that's true at all.
definitely
I
not.
know it's not true at all because
No.
just do some research and just wait for the Dylan Graham conversation. But so if you're not using YouTube predominantly, how are you sending traffic to your BeatStars page mostly?
So I'm utilizing Instagram. That's where most of my traffic comes from. I was, you know, utilizing Facebook ads and all that kind of stuff, but it just didn't seem to work that well for me. And I was utilizing kind of free advertisement on Instagram by creating, you know, me making the beat and recording it and then uploading it. And I'm saying that recently, I figured out how to add the Facebook shop to Instagram. So I've now got the shop on Instagram, and I can now link a product. So I can now link the beat as a product to the video that I've just created, which is super cool. So that really helps. And also just utilizing the advertisement, the promote system on BeatStars. I think that's been working pretty well for me as well. I don't overuse it, but I use it to try and help, boost some engagement, and yeah, that does really help. I generally what I do is any kind of sales I make, I generally put half of it back into helping me grow the brand and just grow. Whether it's I just invest back into it. Whether it's I need a new plugin, or I need a new sound pack, or I need something else to help me, get better at what I'm doing.
Okay, so you just said a lot. Can you explain how you in it? Because this is something that people have been trying to figure out how to do forever. How you integrated the shop feature for beat sales. I want to learn. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Well, BeatStars already has a Facebook catalog link, and you just have to have a Facebook page, and you also need to have a Facebook business account, which I think if anyone's running ads, they should have, I think. And then you just need to set it up on Facebook. You know, I do the BeatStars Academy shows every Wednesday, and I think me and Jamil potentially going to be going over that one week. So everyone tune into that one because we will show you how it's done. But yeah, it's actually really simple once you know how, and it's actually really good once you've. The cool thing about the BeatStars and how it integrates is that you don't have to create every upload. It automatically uploads everything into your catalog, your shop. So every time you upload a beat, that's it. It's in your catalog, and it's super cool. You can utilize it on Facebook, but I think because predominantly most of my traffic comes through Instagram, I use it there, and that seems to be helping.
So how do your actual Instagram posts look? I see a lot of producers posting beats to Instagram, and it's just either a visualizer or it's a picture with music on it. Yours don't quite look like that. How do you describe your process for creating these Instagram posts?
I try to mix it up. If I've tried all sorts of different stuff. When I first started, you know, it was the whole camera, you know, jumping around. You know, everyone did that at one point. You know, here, listen to my new beat. Check this out. It's fire or whatever. And then I switched it up, and it was someone that gave me advice. It was just to show my face on camera so people can relate to you a bit more. So I started doing that. I wasn't speaking, but I was just, you know, showing my face, and I'd be at my keyboard and doing that. Those worked amazingly really well when I first started. And the branding and the theme, you know, it was the whole purple color that really helped as well. And it was trying to keep consistent with that. I think I was at one point I was uploading a new video every other day, and that was working as well. And then I tried to switch it up. I've been doing some different things recently. I would just do like a screen recording of the new beat that I've uploaded onto BeatStars, and it would have the picture of the, you know, the track image that I'd created, and stuff like that. And then every now and again I'll do a video. I think for me it was kind of like the color purple and the vibes of the studio as well. People see the whole studio set up, that gets people interested as well. So yeah, I just try to mix it up. I don't think I have any particular kind of structure to it right now, at least.
Somebody mentioned physical merch, but you're actually wearing your own physical merch. Are you selling
Yeah,
that
I
through
have my
through
own
BeatStars?
physical. Yeah, yeah, through Printful. Yeah,
Okay, so you use the Printful integration.
yeah,
I can answer this question. Yes. I don't know if that's directed towards you. I know you have your own domain.
yeah.
Levi, do you think it's best that a producer beat maker sticks to a specific type of beat, or is it possible to grow? Oh my God.
Where are we going?
I think you typed too fast. Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
be versatile, or should you stick to one sound? That's one of those conversations that comes up all the time.
yeah. No, I think you can be versatile. I don't think you should limit yourself. Um, I have, purely just because I went from creating music that maybe I never grew up listening to or stuff like that, or was just trying to create what everyone else was creating, to then start to create music that I love to create. And then once I finish the beat, that I could just listen to it over and over and over again and not get bored of it. So I tend to make music that I love. And I think that's what's really helped me, like personally, to get to the point where I am now, is because I really love what I'm doing. I'm vibing with everything that I'm doing. I love it. And that seems to be coming across to other people. And then they experience that as well, you know. But just to answer your question, I don't think it, you know, I know loads of producers out there, and you probably do as well, Payne, one like that create multiple genres. And it's just
Yeah.
whatever you feel it like in the moment. I don't think you should push yourself into one, you know, one corridor or one lane.
I think it's more of a challenge for your marketing.
Yeah, I would agree with
Most
that. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, predominantly it is. I mean, if you have loads of money to invest, then why? You could have different beat stores with different, genres on them. But I predominantly work in the genre that I work in because mainly, like I said, it's what I enjoy, but also it works for me.
So I wanted to pick up on something you said. You mentioned using BeatStars promo. What have you found that has worked for you? Because there are a lot of different options. How
Yeah.
did it work for you? What do you recommend to someone who's considering getting some BeatStars promo?
So start off small, like any kind of ad platform that you're going to be using. Start off with small numbers, like invest small numbers. Um, I think promoting your profile is underrated. I think that works really well because you're promoting you as yourself. And I generally, when I drop a new beat, I generally kind of like start a promotion on that. Start small, like $5 a day potentially, and maybe like over a 5-day period or something. And that kind of starts the ball rolling, and then people start to see it. And I think, like with just uploading, I think on the BeatStars platform, how it works best is if you're using advertisement to not like do like say you got $100 budget, right? Don't blow your whole $100 on one day. Like spread it out, because the more people start to see you and you're popping up all the time, they might not click on it the first time and listen to it the first time, but if they keep seeing it, they might be like, yo, this dude keeps turning up, must be good, let me check him out, and then that just kind of builds and gets the ball rolling. And I see that because I see like people playing the same beat like 100 times or something like that, which is really cool.
I'll be damned. All right. So we're talking about paid ads. What other kinds of paid ads have you run? I know you said Instagram, and you do that through Facebook Business Manager. Or
Yep.
what has your strategy been?
Yeah, so I did that. I used to use Instagram or Facebook ads at least to promote the beat making videos that I was doing on Instagram. I've tried like Google ads as well to promote my pro page and stuff like that. That worked for a while, just to bring people to my personal website, obviously pro page. But for me, if I'm being totally honest with you, I've just stuck to one, recently, and what's been working for me is the BeatStars promotion. That's really helped me to build and grow. Um, and I've kind of stopped doing all the other advertisement because I wasn't seeing any results from it. I was getting engagement, but it wasn't translating into anything else other than just engagement, which I don't think is a bad thing. You can, because sometimes it might take someone to see you for like over and over again for 6 months before they're interested in purchasing anything from you. So but I just decided to financially just concentrate on one for now at least.
Sorry, I'm getting a question in from Matt. How has mentorship been valuable for you?
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't like not direct mentorship, but I think, you know, joining the MEC club when, not, I don't think it was when it first started. I wasn't sure, but I joined at one point, didn't I? And then I left and then came back again. Um, but yeah, like just, I think it can be good. But you don't necessarily have to join, these things, or, you can just watch a certain person on YouTube. Like there's one guy that I watch all the time. He uses Logic, and he's really dope at mixing and mastering that kind of stuff. And I've learned a lot from him. So I kind of class him that he's been my mentor, but indirectly. You know,
Who was that?
Sean Devine. Don't know if you know Sean Devine.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've learned a hell of a lot from him. And the fact that I use Logic, he uses Logic. It translated easier for me.
So I'm sure over the years, your processes and habits have changed, and your mentality has changed as well.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest changes you've made based on experience?
Um, I think for me, it is confidence first thing, because that was a big thing for me. Like doubt. You know, I had a lot of doubt that I couldn't do it. Um, but even though I loved music that much, I still wanted to do it. So I just pushed through that. But I think you have to push through that. I think everyone goes through that at some point, and we probably all still go to for it to a certain point to this day. You know, even though we're seeing some success. So yeah, like just continue with it. Just, you know, be confident. Try to be as confident as you can. Not overly confident, but also willing to learn. Like, don't be naive, which is something that I was. You know, I was definitely naive, thinking there was something I could do. What else was there? Yeah, I think just in general, just, you know, be willing to learn, um, and be comfortable with what I was doing, and not maybe not overthink it too much. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the process, because I think sometimes people put too much onus on. I see it all the time. Producers reach out to me and say, "Hey, like, how do you make sales?" And I look at them and they've only just started out. And I think people go into it initially with the wrong intentions. Like, everyone wants to make it a viable business, and everyone wants to earn, you know, earn money out of doing something they love. But I think at the beginning, you have to realize that it takes work, and there's a lot of steps you have to go through, and you make a load of mistakes and you learn from them. Um, but then you get to that point and you feel comfortable, and it's things just start to automatically start. You know, it's like a train. It just keeps going, going and going. It doesn't stop.
Let me pick up on something that you said. I see a lot of producers focusing on making sales, but there's very little talk about relationship building.
Yeah,
Do you have a lot of repeat customers?
yeah, I have, and I have customers that, you know, come back to me and says, "Hey, like, they wait until I upload a new beat. They don't want to shop with anyone else." Like, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. I don't think it's necessarily just about the music, but it's the relationship that we've created, and that trust as well. I think trust is a big thing. Knowing that, you know, if they reach out to you and they've got a problem, that you will help them, and you will help them go through with the process. I think like that first initial sale and the customer service that you provide at that time and the communication that you have with them is key. That could be and turn into a long-standing relationship with someone, and that has definitely been the case for me.
Yeah, how do you add value to people who have bought your beats? How do you communicate with them on an ongoing basis?
Well, you know, when they ask the questions about specific licenses, you know, I provide them with the information, and as well, I'm not the type of person that will send them links or tell them when I've got new beats coming out. They're looking for it, and those are the relationships that I want to build, because I don't want to be that guy, you know, just like spamming people with, "Hey, I've uploaded this new beat." You know, I don't want to force the sale into them. And I think that's again, that's been another key thing for me. um, but yeah, just helping them and just be there for them, just offer them advice. And, you know, I've had people reach out and say, "Hey, like, I want to buy this type of license," and then you know, I'm saying, "Hey, look, I don't think you should, you know, shell out that amount of money on a beat that you don't particularly know if it's going to do well or not. Like, why don't you buy this license for like $40, try it out? If it then does, you start to see some numbers, then let's talk about doing some more stuff, you know?" So I'm not like saying, "Hey, you need to buy the highest priced license." I'm not interested in that, you know? And so then straight away they're like, "Hey, like, this guy is not just about money. Like, he wants to work with me, and he wants to build this relationship." And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They're like trying to get that first sale, or they're trying to, you know, get as much out of them as they possibly can. But you could end up making more money from them by having that conversation with them, and then they end up buying beats for you for years when they may have only bought one lease off you for $200, you know?
So back to the catalog size. Here's the question: would you wait to have a certain number of beats, or would you start uploading from beat one if you had to do it all over again?
What do you mean by that? Like, if I was to start a new BeatStars account again, would I just upload every beat that I made?
No, if you were a new producer, right?
Yep.
And let's say you didn't have that many beats completed and ready to upload, would you wait until you had, like 10, 20 and just upload them all at once to get your catalog up? Or would you immediately upload one and then two and then three and then just go from there?
No, that's an interesting question. I think I would just do it as I did before. I think I would just upload, but try and keep consistent. If I had, like, say, before I started BeatStars, I had 20 beats, I'd be right. I'm going to start off uploading one beat a week. And I know now I've got 20 weeks worth of beats to upload, and I can be consistent with that. So I'll pick a day, say like a Friday, and I will continually upload one beat every Friday. And then people could see that I'm being consistent, and I've not just uploaded 10 beats and then they're waiting another 20 weeks for another 10 beats. Do you know what I mean? I think that's how I would do it.
Okay, so we're running out of time. Tell me about your BeatStars show, because you also have a BeatStars show. How can people tune in? What is it about? What day and time is it?
Yeah, sure. So I do the BeatStars Academy show on a Wednesday. There's a lot of people in the chat that are, probably familiar with that. Me and Jamil, we talk about, some processes on the BeatStars platform and some tools that you can use. We also talk about, some marketing, not too much, but we talk about some marketing, and sometimes we utilize me as a producer as well, showing some of the experience that I've had on BeatStars and how you can benefit from using some of the tools that we have. And that's every Wednesday, 3 p.m. EST, the same time as all of the other weekly shows that we have.
And you and Jamil are going to walk through the whole Facebook, Instagram shop integration thing soon. I'm going to tune in for that.
We're going to do that in a couple of weeks. But
damn, a couple of weeks. Do it now. Do it next week. Do it next Wednesday. I'm going to send an email, an angry email.
I can do a one-to-one with you if you want me to show you how to do it. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful. Okay, so last question: where do people find you? How do they follow you? How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so Levii Beats everywhere. At Levii Beats, it's LEVIIBEATS on every single platform. BeatStars, YouTube. Not that I post much on YouTube, but Instagram, Twitter. All of those different platforms. That's where you can find me.
Yeah, and thank you, Bufo, for reminding us all to keep Abe in our hearts and minds. He's on social media. I'm happy to hear him being open about what he's going through, and it's great to see him receive a lot of moral support. He's created a platform for us and a support system for us and a community for us that no one else has done. I know. For me, I know we're getting serious, but I know he's changed my life in ways that I couldn't imagine before being a BeatStars end user. And so,
same for me.
Yeah, we're all behind him with all the support that we can offer. So, thank you, Abe. You can follow him for updates on social media. And sometimes the official BeatStars accounts will repost his content.
Yeah.
Once again, thanks to everyone tuning in. We'll be back same time, same place next Thursday. But Dame will be running MEC session on Monday at the same time. We do it twice a week. Tune in. We will catch you next time. Levii, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
All right. Much success, everyone. Peace.
Peace out.